I'm sure that we have all heard this advice before. Budget, budget, budget. But how many of us actually do it? And even if we do, how many of us actually review and update our budgets on a regular basis? Today, I want to share with you one simple yet powerful tip to remember when it comes to budgeting, which is to review and reset your budget every quarter. I was listening to a podcast recently where the host mentioned this concept of quarterly budgeting, and I thought that's brilliant. So here's why you should consider adopting this practice into your own financial routine. Seasonality of income and expenses. You might be surprised to know that our expenses can vary greatly depending on the time of year. Right. For example, think about the heating bill in winter versus summer. Or maybe you have kids going to camps or other activities during the summer months. Or maybe you spend more on gifts during the holiday season. Or perhaps your income also varies throughout the year. Maybe you get year-end bonuses at work or tax refunds. Maybe you have a side hustle that has seasonal fluctuations. All of these factors mean that our finances aren't consistent from month to month. So, what good does it do to set a budget for, let's say, the entire year without taking this seasonality into account? It doesn't really make sense because you are setting yourself up for failure by not recognizing these natural fluctuations in income and expenses. So, instead of doing an annual budget, which is something that sounds very overwhelming, especially for me, try quarterly budgeting. With quarterly budgeting, you are setting a budget for 3 months at a time. So this means that you would need to sit down with your finances only 4 times a year, which is much more manageable than having to do it every single month. And the benefit of doing it quarterly is that it takes into account the seasonality of your income and expenses. Let's take the example of the heating bill. In summer, you might not even use heating in your home, so your heating bill will probably be low or non-existent. But come winter, you might have a couple $100 heating bill. If you were to set a monthly budget for the entire year, you would end up with a much higher average heating bill, and that might not even be reflective of what your actual heating bill is going to be for each individual month. So, what you can do is set a quarterly budget. So, in summer, when your expenses are lower, you could save some extra money. And then in winter, when your expenses are higher, you can dip into those savings. Another reason why I love the idea of quarterly budgeting is that it allows you to save money on those big one-off expenses like car maintenance or major clothing purchases. Let's say that in the first quarter of the year, decide to set aside $50 a month towards a new wardrobe. That would mean that over the course of the quarter, you will have saved up $150. Then, during the second quarter, instead of continuing to save $50 a month for clothes, you can redirect that money towards a different goal. For example, saving for a car maintenance or maybe a vacation. So this way, you're not locked into any particular category or subcategory, and you have the flexibility to move money around depending on your needs and priorities. Thirdly, and this is very important, reviewing your budget every quarter allows you to celebrate your successes and reward yourself. This is something that I don't think we do enough of. We tend to focus a lot on the things that we haven't done or haven't achieved yet, but it's equally, if not more important, to acknowledge the things that we have done. And that's what the quarterly review helps you with. When you sit down at the end of a quarter to review your budget, take some time to appreciate all the things that you have accomplished. Did you pay off any debt? Did you save up for a vacation? Did you make progress towards buying a house? Take some time to really celebrate those wins. This helps keep you motivated and makes you feel like you're making progress towards your financial goals. Another benefit of reviewing your budget every quarter is that it forces you to look at your spending and see if there's anything that you can cut back on. I think we've all been guilty of getting a little bit too comfortable with our spending, like we might have started out the year with a lot of enthusiasm, and then slowly, but surely we start to spend more and more money on non-essential items. So, reviewing your budget every quarter helps you stay on track and ensures that you're not overspending in any particular category. You may be wondering how exactly you should go about reviewing your budget every quarter. Well, I have a few tips. First, at the beginning of each quarter, pull together all your financial statements, bank statements, credit card statements, investment accounts, etc. Next, look at your spending and see if there's anything that you can cut back on. You don't have to make drastic changes, but even cutting back on a few non-essential expenses can free up a lot of money that you can put towards your savings goals. The next step is to set your savings goals for the next quarter. Be realistic when setting your goals and make sure that they're aligned with your values. What do you really care about? Is it travel, buying a house, retirement? Once you know what you're saving for, it'll be easier to motivate yourself to stick to your budget. The final step is to create an action plan. This doesn't have to be anything fancy, but having a plan of action will help you stay on track. So write down the steps that you need to take in order to achieve your savings goals and then break down each step into smaller, more manageable tasks. For example, if one of your goals is to save $1,000 in the next quarter, break it down into weekly or even daily tasks. So figure out how much you need to save every week or every day in order to reach your goal. Here are some examples of questions that you can ask yourself when reviewing your budget every quarter. How am I doing overall with my finances? Am I on track to meet my long-term financial goals? Are there any areas where I can improve? Am I spending too much in any particular categories? And am I saving enough for retirement? Answering these questions will give you a clear picture of where you stand financially and help you make any necessary adjustments to your budget. I hope this video was helpful. If you found it useful, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to see more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.